Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Dis.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Let's get right back into it. So, let's begin with what we usually start with. Inspiration and general status updates. So we've got Dis and Lazarus both have used their inspiration. And perhaps more importantly, Lazarus is at his first level of exhaustion, which I will remind everybody gives him a disadvantage on ability checks. So,
It's the second one that hurts.
Yeah.
that's true. Dis and Lazarus, and I guess anybody else at the table, anything last session you feel like you did that is deserving of an inspiration?
Let's see.
I'll give you a hint. I have one in my head.
For who?
For both of you, actually.
Oh.
Almost the same action, really.
So, now I'm playing the guessing game, Jesse thinks, but I think Dis actually deciding to try to go back instead of down was a decision that he made based on the team instead
Was
of
it going
what
in-
he'd probably try to do normally, which is be more of a hero so that his name gets out a little bit.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Is everybody decided to back up?
Yeah.
That's actually true. Lazarus as well, because we had word of...
Well, so I saw that fucking symbol and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
This is it.
No, that's a very good point. And I think, honestly, I mean, I do try to reward caution where being rewarding of caution is due. So yeah, I think we'll give inspiration to Dis and Lazarus.
Or
Can I have it too?
You already have inspiration.
I know.
You're already inspiring, Kenna.
So
You can't bank inspirations.
Nope, cannot bank.
I know.
That should be like one of the feats. You should be able to like bank an inspiration.
Yeah.
and we'll just give it to like whatever half already has the lucky one, the halflings.
So it's
make it
just
even
like
more
impossible. I'm not that kind of a being.
Although I basically
Aware.
have decided that when I hit level 8 that I'm going to take the lucky feat and just be completely luck bending in my build.
They're just going to
That'd
become a
be fun.
leprechaun.
They call him Nim the Leprechaun Luckbender.
I just wish I was a halfling now, but I chose gnome for good reasons.
Heads or tails, doesn't matter.
That gnome cunning makes me harder to hit with spells. So.
Alright, so the next important thing. Experience. So everybody fought a fire elemental. Now, technically speaking, you haven't finished a quest yet, but since everybody's going to back off and kind of claim those 2 floors, I kind of decided to take the experience for the whole deal and kind of split it up a little bit just to kind of reward you for systematically clearing the building. So I think that combined with the 1 fire elemental, I'm going to call 800 experience each.
So 35.
30,000.
Almost there.
Almost to a new level. Almost. I don't know why I'm singing.
Because it's
Almost.
exciting.
Because it's been a while since we leveled up.
Are we doing a musical episode?
No, please no.
No. I mean, I could probably swing it,
Even
but
when I was
Hello,
4 and 5 years
my
old
name
watching
is
children's show, whenever they started singing, I just buried my head.
I can sing in some of my voices, but not all of them.
Can you sing in Kermit? You have to sing the Rainbow
Jeez,
Connection.
I don't even know if I
See,
can
that's the
sing
thing that's
with
hard with
Kermit.
Lazarus' voice
My
too.
name
Like
is
doing the
Kermit.
bass voice is hard, but when you try to like do the voice and then be angry with the voice or something,
Yeah.
it's harder.
Hello there, Miss Piggy. You look
Sitting on
pretty
that 20.
today. My name is Kermit.
There you go.
I mean, it's not great, but it'll work.
Not terrible.
Okay, so that's experience. We'll do a quick recap of where we were at. I'm sure everybody remembers. It was fairly exciting. Burning building. The party decided they were going to be firefighters. They got some...
Fire haters.
Yeah, fire haters. And you got some stuff together. You got ready to go into the building. You plowed through. Using some water magic and some, other stuff. You cleared your way. You found out that there's basically 3 basement levels. You've made your way through the top level, Made your way down. Second level is where you encountered the first fire elemental. Hit a bit of a roadblock after that, however. Took care of the fire elemental just fine. Well done all around. But hit a bit of a snag with the next set of stairs. Lazarus was detecting a pretty strong elemental presence and maybe a little bit of demon. Then you saw a well-known, at least to you anyway, demon symbol scrawled into the staircase. And then perhaps more importantly, even after a full-blown tidal wave, you couldn't clear all the fire from the stairs in one go. So it's a different kind of fire. There's something special about it,
So
for
now,
sure.
when we say it was carved into the staircase, what are we seeing? Like, is
So-
it like on one step, or is it in...
So
On the landing.
I should mention, so we didn't really discuss it too much, although I think somebody asked me at the end of the session. The stairs themselves are made of stone. That's basically why they've been burned away. Although the floors are made of wood, which is why Lazarus fell through at one point, or at least with one of his legs. When I say carved into the stairs, I mean it as literally as possible. The entire stairwell is the symbol. It's been carved into the stone.
Multiple steps?
Yeah, it's the whole set of stairs. The whole circle encompasses the entire set of stairs.
Oh, dang.
So, like, are the steps still there, or is it just etched in?
The steps are there, it's just the pattern's been etched into it. Somebody did some work.
So it's like one of those things where you step away and look at it, it's a complete
Exactly.
circle.
The only reason you viewed the symbol so easily was because you were standing right above it doing the tidal wave, right? So that gave Kenna specifically a pretty good view of the symbol. But yeah, so that's where we left off. The symbol has been exposed, except for like a little bit where the fire didn't clear, because as we talked about last time, a full tidal wave into the stairs basically evaporated completely, leaving about a third of the stairs, the bottom third, still on fire. So it's some pretty serious fire. And that's where you guys had that kind of very quick discussion about maybe backing off and taking some time to re-examine what's going on. But I suppose unless, does anybody, I did a pretty brief recap of the last episode because honestly, other than storming the building, not a lot happened. Anything I missed? Anything anybody wants to bring up, draw special attention to? How's everybody's spells doing?
Lazarus has been dipped down a bit just by smiting. He's got 1 first level left and 2 second levels.
Okay.
I've been only hit down like 10 health right now. Still have a maximum lay on hands and 1 level of exhaustion.
Okay.
My superiority die is like almost gone. I have 1 left.
Do you get those from short rests or long rests?
Short rest.
Okay.
Nice.
And I haven't used my second wind or my action surge yet, and I'm at like 43 out of 62.
Okay.
I've only used 4 spells, 3 first levels and a second level.
Same as Lazarus.
I'm down to 57 out of 69 health. I'm down 3 level 1s and 2 level 3s.
2 tidal waves. You still have 1 more third tidal wave on a 4th.
And a 4th tidal wave, and then I'm out.
Not to sound like an 8-year-old, but you seriously have 69 HP? How has that not come up yet?
Nice.
Like, how has that not been mentioned
I'm
yet?
68.
I'm pretty sure we mentioned it, like, just probably not on the podcast, but when I got there, I was like, and I'm at 69.
I feel like we probably mentioned it, but yeah, I don't think it was on the podcast. Like, how has that not come up?
Yeah.
Because she just, when
'Cause
she
we are
maxes
immature
out,
as
she
fuck.
just says, I'm maxed on HP. She doesn't say I'm at 69.
I just giggle every time I look at my own sheet.
I didn't need to take that from a dragon. All right, so in that case, we will just drop ourselves into the staircase. You guys are all standing at the top. There's a fair amount of heat radiating off of this thing. I will remind you that the only reason you're not actively burning is that you've been saturating yourselves with water, which you're probably due for a refresh on fairly quickly.
We still have our 2 water skins.
Yes, you do.
So I guess while we're discussing, that's probably...
Sure. But yeah, you may want to figure out what your plan is.
I we figured it out.
I think before we head out, though, we should probably, douse the stairs as much as we can. Like, just burn all the spells.
I thought our plan was.
wish to reclaim the first floor entirely?
I thought our plan was to shoot one at the second level and shoot another at the first level, because I can also make it rain on top of that, just to get the fires out there.
Sure.
And then perhaps we can get the assistance from outside to contain the fire below the first level.
Yeah, but if we saturate the second and the first level enough, then they should be able to just keep it doused all night. Because, I mean, I can make big wave storms again a couple times, and I can make it rain about 4 more times or so, I feel like I have that much energy left.
Who's standing at the top of the stairs currently?
At the top, like closest to the top?
Yeah.
No.
Wouldn't be me, I think.
I was probably near the
I don't
bottom.
know. Probably Lazarus and Kenna were most interested in the symbol.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you're really close to the symbol?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
We would be
we're
close to
at the
the
top
symbols.
with her.
Okay. Have you been looking at it at all, investigating it in any way?
Oh, if it's still there, I'd probably be like pinging first.
Oh, it's still there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I didn't know if the firelight came back and covered it. Or...
Not yet.
Well, I ping out.
Sure.
First.
So you ping out, and there's definitely a strong desecration off of the symbol for sure. Not quite the strongest you've ever felt. A certain ravine still holds that. But it definitely doesn't feel pleasant.
How well does Lazarus feel? That's within his facilities.
I mean, it's one of those
He's
things...
not really done a thing or been taught things about purifying.
No, it's not in your realm to resolve, or it certainly doesn't feel that way. You're not even really sure how you'd get rid of the symbol in the first place, as it's been literally carved into the stairs. I will note at the same time, since you're the one kind of staring at the symbol the most, you do notice a shift in the fire that's at the bottom of the stairs. So basically, the tidal wave that Kenny used pushed it down that bottom third, and it kind of retracted it from the stairs. As you continue to watch the symbol and kind of like trying to get a good handle on what it's about, you notice that that level of fire that's sitting on that bottom couple of steps, as you watch it, kind of out of the corner of your eye, you notice that it's been kind of reclaiming the staircase, which draws your attention to it. So you look at it a little bit more focused, and it's not just kind of slowly rising upwards like fire normally would. It physically crawls up each stair. It kind of like forms over the stair and then like bursts that stair into fire, and then is kind of slowly creeping its way up doing that.
What's wrong, Lazarus? I would notice, I assume.
Hey, he's making
Yeah.
Lazarus's perturbed sound.
Lazarus believes the entire thing may be an elemental. Watch it crawl up the stair.
The entire
I will
fire.
watch.
It does crawl up the stairs.
Oh, that's just dandy, isn't it?
We need a water elemental.
Too bad we don't got one of those in our back pockets.
Only wind. Now then, to our plan. Do we wish to ascend now, or are we dumping more on this, though?
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, I could try to douse it more down there, but then that's going to leave the rest of the upstairs the chance to get re-engulfed in flame.
This one believes we should probably reconciliate the first floors.
Okay.
Shall we?
So too.
Should I... So I could make it rain on each floor twice, and I could also tidal wave it to try to douse it? Or should we focus the most energy on the first floor?
Perhaps a single wave to spread across as much as we can the
The second level?
first level,
Okay.
and then work our way down, should we not?
So put as much effort into the first floor as you need
Yeah.
to clear, and then whatever you've got left over goes to the second floor.
Okay, yeah, we can do
To try and
that.
extinguish the full
Yeah.
ground level.
Yeah, we can
Makes
do
sense.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we try and head on up.
Sounds good. So-
Looking an eye down there.
Yeah, keeping a cautious eye at the staircase. Since you actually mentioned you'd be staring at the staircase, give me a perception roll.
This is going to be passive. Yeah, it is passive. 14.
Thank goodness Lazarus is at least passively. Isn't your passive 15?
Probably 15. It says 15.
This is what I got on my sheet.
Then it's 15.
Okay. So everybody heads up the stairs to begin returning to the first level. And Lazarus, you're kind of like the last one, and you're keeping an eye on that symbol. And as you watch the fire finish crawling that last step so that it re-engulfs the entire staircase, that symbol flashes red for a second, and then just kind of seeps back into the fire as the fire kind of raises above it again.
Mental note.
Mental note. You guys return up to the first level. The fire is definitely still burning. The path that you cleared has almost completely closed. However, the fire up here seems less oppressive than below. You definitely get the feeling that up here it's not as hot as it was down there, at least not anymore.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have to basically clear the entire floor because it did get reclaimed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stand behind me.
Best of luck.
Tidal wave.
Which direction? Just in general.
I guess, like, straight out in front of us, because we need to clear the path /
Kind of back the way you came, like to the exit sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Or to one of the exits?
just clear ourselves the path first. then
Yeah.
everything
But,
else.
like, not like, I don't want it to be at the door, so, like, kind of off a little bit, so that it would, you go and say, so it's this
so
way, but,
kind
like,
of hits
Keep
the
the
corner.
water in the
yeah,
buildings.
yeah, but keeps the water in the building and not running out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So yeah, you tidal wave that way, and it's working fairly well on the fire at this level. It's definitely superior to the fire on this level, a whole tidal wave worth of water. So yeah, it basically knocks out about a quarter of the building's fire.
Quarter.
Not
Well,
bad.
then, I guess, tidal wave in the other direction.
Fourth
Okay.
level.
4th level,
So this is the bigger one.
That's a bigger one. I don't think
It doesn't do
Yeah, it
anything.
doesn't upgrade.
unfortunately.
Good try though.
Yes, I mean, it
More
does.
gallons.
Yes, it's a
bigger
bigger fire,
bigger
bigger
fire,
water.
over here. Yep.
It's a water elemental now,
100%.
I'm pretty sure.
Basically.
It's basically a water elemental. It's, okay, so that takes out another quarter of the building's fire, give or take. So you feel like you got about a half of that top level left.
Alright, so, when I cast Creator Destroy Water at a higher level, though, it will, do an additional 10 gallons.
Okay.
Or the size of the cube increases by 5 feet for each slot level above first.
What's the default cube size?
30 feet.
A 30 foot by 30 foot by 30 foot?
30 foot cube.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, like, once that kind of...
Yeah.
It's going to fill out a lot more of an area.
Yeah.
Probably one of those will clear another quarter, I would imagine.
At the second level?
I think so.
Okay, so I'll do... So 2 second levels, essentially, to dose the whole thing.
Sure. Even before, like, when you do that third one,
Yeah.
and you basically take out 3/4 of the fire at that level, on the first level, I should say, the ground level, even when you've already hit that point, you notice, like, people cautiously, like, poking their heads inside the building, and kind of, the very first one, of course, is definitely... Blaine, he kind of like, even when you had just cleared like half and you were starting the next half, he just kind of like strides in and just like looks around and gives one of those like nods of approval and kind of starts helping out as well to clear out the little fires left over.
Okay, well, I'll leave him to the little fires then, and then I'll go back down to the second level.
Okay.
And I will do my last second level Creator Destroy Water, and
Okay.
then my last first level Creator Destroy.
Okay, sounds good.
I am out of spells.
So, you clear the water on the second level, and while you're doing that, you guys on the first level notice Blaine and his crew come in, and they kind of put out the rest of the remaining fires on the first level. Blaine even kind of comes up to you and kind of looks down the staircase to confirm, like, how much of the building is theirs now, and you hear him kind of start barking orders about, like, soaking the ground so that it can't really pick up the fire from the second level and that sort of stuff. Kenna, you clear fire on the second level, and kind of set yourself up there. But you notice the fire on that level is clawing back territory pretty quickly.
Okay.
Fairly aggressively, actually. And at first you're not really sure why, but as you kind of watch it a little bit more, you realize that second level floor is starting to degrade pretty badly, and fire is basically just openly passing from the third basement level up to the second.
Okay, well, I call up then and be like, I'm gonna need some reinforcements down here.
All right.
Suppose Lazarus will try and stop Blaine for a moment.
Blaine was like, as soon as she's like, I need help down here, Blaine was just like striding forward.
Yeah, based on the situation, I'll probably go down too.
Okay.
Teammate
I'll
going.
stop Blaine and I'll be like, stop him. Like,
Well, Mr. Blaine, it seems we have found something unusual, though this one is not certain who to speak of for it.
Nothing about fire is usual, my dear Dragonborn.
You and Dish should be friends.
It's a big ball of fire.
But tell me, what did you see that troubles you more than watching a building succumbed by the fiery hells?
I suppose he gets really close in with Blaine and be like,
There is a symbol of desecration in lower floors.
He just kind of like quietly nods to himself. Desecration, you say? Are we talking... And he like leans like so far in, he's practically whispering in your ear. Demons?
A triangle, a circle, and a dot.
Very well then. We will attempt to act as accordingly as possible. Do you have any way of removing it?
This one is not the purifying type. At least not as of yet.
I'll need to see it. But if you have no one capable of purifying it, I believe I may know a woman who could purify it, though calling on her makes me uneasy.
This one could make the trip if it saves the effort.
I mean, Kenna... Am I around?
You're either upstairs or downstairs.
I was following them, so... Kenna also has that magic dispelly thing she can do.
It depends if it is divinely made.
Well, if it's not magic, then we'll need someone who knows, like, a curse removal type spell.
Most likely.
So about that help, I could use some help down here.
Lazarus is like,
Blaine kind of like nods and kind of gives one of those like, right. And takes about half of his crew and heads down the stairs and kind of starts taking a look around. They work on it for a couple of minutes before Blaine just kind of gathers the rest of you around, like kind of motions for you to come closer. I don't like to admit it. I would never say it out loud near my company men. And he like takes like another couple steps up the stairs. But I don't think we can hold this floor for the night. Too many of the floorboards have weakened, allowing the bitch's fire from below to extend.
So,
I believe we may be stuck with just holding the first floor.
Even so, that is progress.
It is progress. Soon, the beast will be destroyed. I can feel it in my good leg.
Usually it is the opposite.
He kind of like looks at you and he just kind of like gives you one of those like he's not really sure what you're talking about looks. Is the plan then, are you done with what you can accomplish today, heroes?
I'm exhausted. I can't do anything more than that today. I don't know what time it is.
You heard the druid.
Very well. And you, mage, you have nothing left to contribute?
I mean, I can... Not like, significantly. Nothing that... I don't really have, like, mass put-out stuff kind of spells. I have, like... I mean, if we can put out fire with fire, I can do that.
He kind of like, he gives you a nod and he says, don't feel bad about it, gnome. In the great chase for the beast, there are hunters and there are bait. It's always good to be willing to admit which one you are.
I don't think I'm bait.
But you have no way to fight the creature?
Oh, I mean, I did damage to the creature. And then I, like, summon a mage hand and I start, like, patting the fire out.
He kind of, like, looks at you and he goes, as I said, Very well, then. We will do our best to hold the first floor and not lose the momentum that you've given us. What's your plan for the rest of the day, then?
What time is it?
And he kind of he looks over and gives you one of those, I'm so sorry you're so exhausted looks, but he goes, I'm afraid it's only 11 in the morning.
Oh, golly, it's going to be a long day.
Indeed. This one still has usefulness here in keeping your squad safe, if that would serve.
If you believe you can sacrifice the time, if you believe you will have difficulty removing the symbol from the stairs, I can give you someone to talk to about that as well, if you believe that would assist you in some way.
We would appreciate the connections.
I see. Very well, then. What rungs are you able to access?
I'll hold up my ring. These ones.
He kind of takes a look and you go, I see. Having you contact my... No, preferred is definitely not the right word. Having you contact the individual I was initially thinking of will be largely impossible for you at this stage. However, I have heard there is a priest in the farming rung who may be able to assist.
Yes, we do know that one.
I see. Well, then, perhaps if you know him already, it may be best if you go to communicate with him yourselves.
Perhaps it would be best if Lazarus went for that.
You do seem to be best friends with Father Maxie.
Lazarus did help with the church.
I mean, I could go too. I do know his religion inside and out.
He did speed read the Bible.
It's true. And what would we be using that for?
I mean, if he resists, I can kind of be like, but Father, the scripture says.
Does not Leviticus 39F say?
And that is what Lazarus is concerned for.
How about I keep my mouth shut unless it goes south?
That Lazarus will agree to.
Okay.
I saw him step south. You all saw it.
I saw it, Nim.
All right. Well, if that's going to be what Lazarus and Nim decide to do, where does that leave Kenna and Dis? What's the plan?
So,
I mean, you certainly need your long rest, but you do have almost an entire half of a day to perform other activities, go for help, go shopping.
We're still by Blaine, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna go up to him. Blaine.
Yes?
I heard you talking to Lazarus about the symbol, the triangle, the upside down triangle. I lowered my voice because I heard him lowering his voice.
He kind of he gives you a look, but then he's like, I do recall that, yes.
Would there be anybody else we could talk to maybe on this rung? Kind of split effort, maybe get another viewpoint.
On this rung. It's mostly merchants. Most of the healing temples and that sort of are on the religious rung. I mean, there are people on this rung that could possibly help, though I fear perhaps their efforts would be, overly unnecessary.
Then another question. The previous owner of this place, Gruff Woodwalker.
Yes.
Is there anybody I could talk to get more information about him?
Some of the shops nearby would have known him quite well. There's also a woodworking shop not too far from here that bought materials from him on a fairly regular basis. They may know him as well. Did you find any evidence of him?
Not really. We didn't look.
Yeah, we didn't. We were too busy fighting the fire.
No. That will keep a man busy.
Yes.
And a lady, of course.
We should mention we did vanquish one such elemental on the second floor.
A fire elemental.
Indeed.
I see.
Lazarus detects one much greater in the floors below.
Were you able to procure proof of your slaying of the creature?
We were a bit preoccupied by fire.
I see. Well, I see no reason for you to lie to me, and certainly I can't imagine anyone would lie in the face of the trauma that is currently befalling this building. So, should anyone ask, I will confirm your story about slaying the first elemental on the second floor, though I would recommend, if you are able to, procuring some sort of proof for any subsequent feats would probably save you a little time and effort.
We have seen to drop that one quite often.
Sidebar, did we not look for stuff? Dis looked for...
Yeah.
He looked for it after it was dead, yes.
Yeah, he did. There was nothing.
I didn't sacrifice it either because it was an elemental.
Yeah, because you didn't find anything to sacrifice, because... Yeah.
Felt bad.
There's not a jar to put it in.
So did you say that?
I sacrificed my head.
So he did not say that.
I would have let people know I couldn't sacrifice it, probably.
I'm gonna ask
Or I thought
Blaine.
You certainly can now if you want.
I thought I did say something, and I said, well, that doesn't work.
Yeah, but I don't know that they'd know exactly what you were talking about.
By the way, while we all have everybody together, I tried to sacrifice the elemental, and it didn't work.
Interesting.
Then perhaps, if there was no sign of us having vanquished it and that did not work, it perhaps gave us this lie.
What do you mean you couldn't sacrifice it?
It was,
Enjoy that one.
it's just phrasing from my drow culture. It means nothing. I wouldn't read too much into it.
Roll deception. I mean, I don't imagine. I mean, you're not that bad at these. So.
17.
It's actually closer than I thought it would be. Well, I don't know much about the drow, so... He just kind of
Whoa.
nods. Sorry, was there a question in there somewhere?
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's anything I can do to help out, even though I can't help out how I would usually help out.
Well, not to be too cruel, but if you're unable to cast any magic, I'm not sure I see how.
Alrighty, just checking.
You do notice, as you say that, a couple, there's like 3 members of his crew kind of like come up behind him, tap him on the shoulder, and kind of dialogue with him really quietly for a second. And he kind of just like gives them a shake of the head and just kind of like, no, I'm not asking for that. And just kind of like shoos them away.
Asked for what?
It's, a little embarrassing, but some of the men were claiming that they are quite sore from fighting the fire and would certainly appreciate a back rub, and it just seemed a little silly.
Insight?
Go ahead.
Background.
Yeah, I didn't read into shit.
6.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be telling the truth. They look like kind of pervy people, so that seems to line up okay.
I'm sure that they would.
You look over and one of the guys is just like, gives like a big thumbs up.
Alrighty then, so just where we're going?
Let's go to the woodworkers that bought from Gruff Woodwalker.
Sounds good. Thanks, Blaine. I hope you guys can keep at least the first
This
level
does
under
mean
control.
that myself and Master Nim are going to have to walk back here.
Sure does. You better leave now.
Well, it's a long trip.
Enjoy the journey,
Let
boys.
us at least get out of the building and wash off some smoke.
I mean, on our way back, I could polymorph you into something fast, and then I could ride you.
We find out if there's like
No.
a way to warp to this level, like the women that Kenna and I found before mentioned a silver for warping. What if there's a
Oh.
closer warp point?
Would I know that?
I mean, it's not an impossible guess.
I thought we asked the servants about that, and they said all the exterior warp points had been shut down for numerous reasons.
They have them all, but they're shut.
Yes, I do believe there was something about that.
We wanted to go talk to the mage guild about it.
a note.
This is just like, I'm going to go ahead and write that. Yeah, there was a comment that you'd have to talk to the Mage Guild.
Which is like 5 rungs above us, probably.
In the guild rung.
Lazarus just wants the religious rung.
Nim would pay. Actually, Nim should just pay to go to the.
Not that it matters, but that's not what the rung's called. That's just what Blaine called it. It is a better name, but he's not.
The temple rung.
He's not super into it. He's really more of a whale hunter than a than a religious man. All right, so I guess we'll do Lazarus and Dis first then.
Or Nim.
Or yeah, Lazarus and Nim. Sorry,
Sure.
we can do that.
I head out of the building and I see if there's any water to splash myself and get the steam off.
There's still the barrels that
Okay.
you guys had set up.
Well, then I cool myself off with that barrel by just like...
All right.
Once I'm out of the heat, I start prestidigitationing off all the like char and water and everything, like cleaning myself like a wizard does. You know?
All right. So Nim does the wizard cleaning, and Lazarus does like the slow motion herbal essences shower with the barrel.
And I'll remind Lazarus, we should go grab our packs before we head off to the farming run.
Yes, we can do that.
All right. Fair enough.
So we head over to where those group of guys were.
Yeah, your packs are. Nobody's stealing shit from the firefighters.
That's good.
I suppose I'll just leave my armor there for now? Or do I put it on?
You should probably. I mean, are we really gonna get ambushed on the farming run? Maybe.
I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened.
Lazarus would feel a bit better to wear it on again.
Yeah.
Suppose I'll just put on the armor then.
I'll help him with my mage handingness.
He's just like handing me the straps.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the mage hand can only lift like 5 pounds.
He's
10
just
10 pounds. Okay,
He's
that's
just
not too
grabbing
bad. He's just
the
helping
straps
out,
and like
yeah.
putting them in here. So
He's not picking up any of the heavy bits.
Oh, no, he's
He'd
not.
probably help you with the boots and the gloves, and I'm sure they're fine. Okay, fair enough. And then, are you guys just teleporting straight to the farming run?
Yeah,
I
once
guess
I have my
once I got
stuff
some
in,
I'm getting my own prestidigitation treatment.
Well, yeah,
Because
Lays
Lazarus
him
was
out with
just
it.
in like his sailor clothes. They're all probably singed and burnt as shit too now.
Yeah.
I'll clean you up.
You kind of look like a sailor who went through some
A
stuff.
deck fire.
Yeah, went through a bit of a
Someone
fire.
tipped over the oil lantern.
As they do.
It
It
looks like
happens.
one of those other sailors from the ship that I set on fire.
And then I suppose we'd be able to go.
Boop.
Hang on.
All right, so bit of selfish question. It is like 11 or so, and you did just finish cleaning off and having all of this horrible time inside of a burning building, and you just teleported back to where you know you can get a free meal. So, did you go to Father Maxi right away, or you go get some lunch first?
I think Nim's like all about going to see Father Max.
Oh yeah, I
first.
think Lazarus is pretty. Actually, would not even think of it at the point.
Look at how good they are.
Such good boys.
Such good boys.
Well, it's just not in our mind.
No, I get it. You're busy.
We're just like.
Yeah, who's ready to eat after that? Firefighters, if there's anybody out there listening, how do you eat afterwards? All right, so where do you look for Father Maxi?
I'll go to the church.
It's a good idea. It's a fairly safe place to look for a priest. I mean, usually. All right,
I
so
want to see what it looks like now.
yeah, you come around, and they've built it about 3 feet off the ground at this point, almost the entire outside wall, anyway. And as you kind of come around the corner, you see several people laboring to continue its construction. And as you come around the corner, almost immediately you feel a form wrap around you, and Lazarus, my child,
Father
you have
Maxi,
returned.
I have indeed.
Have you come to help us with our quest for God?
If you mean the church, not quite today. Lazarus is afraid. But
I understand,
He kind of
child.
like indicates.
been a bit busy.
Well, we all have our own work to do for the Lord. There's no reason for you to feel like you're not contributing. But tell me, what has brought you here to me, then?
We are here because, in controversy, we are in need of your services, perhaps.
My services? The services of our great lighted leader?
Is there somewhere we could speak?
Actually, is there anybody?
There are several people working on the church.
A bit more privately, at the well, perhaps.
I understand. Sometimes secrets must be kept, even for the best of reasons, he says almost nonsensically, and then just kind of indicates off behind one of the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Come, follow me over here, and we can have our private word with the Lord.
Just follow him over.
All right? As soon as he kind of gets you behind the building, he kind of gives you a slow nod. Tell me what troubles you, my child.
well, upon our quest to extinguish the fire in the sawmill,
I had heard of it. Terrible business.
we have discovered evidence that this fire is being reinforced by a spot of desecration.
You kind of like, as you finish, his eyes widen and just way louder than he should. He's like, demons!
No, I was ready.
All right, roll a
That's good.
sleight of hand.
Oh, boy.
Ability check?
Yes. So disadvantage.
Bitch, not one. So I just like fucking like palm smack him in the face.
Yeah, he gets like out the whole demon, and then you just kind of smack him, and he just like he looks at you for a second. He's like, "Thank you, child. I needed that."
Lazarus intended to cover your mouth, but apologies, I may have missed.
No. Sometimes even a servant of the Lord needs to receive a bit of reminding of reality. Now, tell me, what exactly is it you found?
A very well placed carving upon stone staircase.
What sort of carving?
A triangle,
Hmm.
embedded within a circle, and a singular dot in the center.
I see. A symbol not unfamiliar to us here, as I'm sure you might imagine.
Also to us.
Very well. And you fear that this is in some way...
There is, of course, Lazarus felt the desecration from it, as well as Kenna used a wave of water to push the fire down just past the symbol. As Lazarus watched the fire retake the staircase, once the symbol was fully enveloped, it flashed red and seemed to merge with the fire.
This is most troubling.
It seems that whatever is taking place at the sawmill, it is most intentional.
Well, when a fire does start and then doesn't go out for several days, one has to imagine at some point that perhaps it was not an accident. However, that is troubling nonetheless. Very well, you wish for me to remove this symbol in some way for you.
Lazarus, unfortunately, is not quite capable.
Very well. It may be within my power to do. I will need some materials gathered together. If you are able to procure them for me, I can begin heading to the site immediately, if you like.
Lazarus has the puzzle holoplanet out in his head.
If the fire brigade is willing to push you down again to the symbol, and they have the power to do so, otherwise we may be able to do so, given a day's rest.
So you believe you may be able to remove it yourself, then?
We may be able to push you down to the symbol once again, given a day's rest. Otherwise, it is up to the facilities left over of the fire brigade.
Well, certainly I wouldn't imagine facing such a terrifying thing without friends, certainly. Why don't I give you a list of things to grab? You have to traverse through the market rung anyway. And I'll meet you there, and we'll see what we can do. I probably wouldn't be there till the morning anyway. It does take quite a long time to traverse there with the exterior portals down.
So long as Kenna is able to rest, we can take you there ourselves.
Very well, that would make me feel safer. I know you are a child of the light, in your own way. And certainly Nim as well, I suspect.
Praise be!
He kind of like, he gives you like a smile and just kind of like, indeed, praise be.
Now then, the list of materials.
Yes, sorry. Nothing too specific. I'll need a golden cross. What else? White ash. And I suspect some sort of catalyst, either a pearl or a diamond of some kind would probably be best.
Does it consume the diamond?
Depending on the strength of the desecration, it may.
Okay, I don't know anything about diamonds.
Is there any specific worth or size of catalyst you require?
Well, it would depend on the strength of the thing I need to remove. If we go for a gem too small, it may be unable to contain the desecration and corruption. If we go too large, of course, it'll be wasted effort. I would say probably something in the 50 gold range should be sufficient.
50 gold in, like, the here economy value, or like 50 gold in, like, general economy value?
50 gold here should be fine.
Alright. See, mine's too big.
Very well hidden, Master Nim.
Father Maxie just kind of gives you one of those looks and then, like, moves a little closer and kind of, like, rests his hand on your shoulder and, don't worry, child. I wouldn't dream of removing a caster's components just for a simple ritual.
I mean, it would help, but I just got it. It's still shiny.
It's got that new diamond shine.
He kind of, like, he nods and then gives you one of those, like, God never asks more of us than we can provide.
Lazarus is enjoying this.
As for the cross, you should be able to grab it at any of the ornament-style stores on the way by. It should run you about 20 or 30 gold, per se.
Very well, Lazarus.
And then the ashes. Just ash.
Is it a specific type of ash?
As long as it's white ash and it's relatively pure, it should be fine. And it's more just to draw the circle for the ritual than anything else.
Very well, Lazarus. I'll use the greeters to find these things.
They should be able to procure it for you. In the meantime, I'll gather what I need from my personal supplies, and I'll begin heading in that direction, probably within the next hour or so.
Is there anything you, Father Maxie, would ask of Lazarus in exchange for this?
I do not believe so, child. You've already put in more than a fair share towards the church, and we are eternally grateful.
Then Lazarus shall return to the church later and assist again.
Your assistance would be most welcome.
I think that is all, then.
Very well. Go then, my children. Godspeed.
That's what we head to the market.
Okay, fair enough. We'll take a moment. We'll go to Kenna and Dis. So what were you guys up to?
Going to the woodworking guild that supplied Gruff Woodwalker supplied with.
Right.
Presumably wood.
Kenna would have phased off first, though.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Kenna also does the slow motion herbal essences shower?
Oh no, she's getting right into that tub.
Fair enough.
I'm sure that
Fair
she's
enough.
very warm.
Lazarus didn't
Yeah,
waste
I mean-
the water. He just literally just like put his whole head down into it, and it just was like.
that seems more than fair, I would imagine. All right, so Kenna obviously soaks off. What about Dis? How's he feeling?
Just dump some water over. Probably can't tell how dirty the ash is on me.
Yeah, I guess your cloak's always been kind of a dirtier
There's probably like
color
gray.
as well.
Well, I wasn't wearing too much.
Actually, any white ash would be pretty visible.
Yeah, so there'd be a lot actually on me. I'd probably
That's
wash
true.
it off. It'd be a lot of gray ash.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. So you guys are cleaned off, seem ready to go.
Look around for a greeter.
There are a couple standing nearby, outside the perimeter.
Just walk up to the closest one.
Soon as you kind of approach with intent, it says, "Hi, welcome to the market run. May I help you find something?"
Just wondering where the woodworking guild is around here.
I'm afraid you'll need to be more specific. There are several woodworking guilds on this floor.
The closest one to this location.
I see. The closest one. Very well, I believe I can take you there.
About how long will it be?
About 20 minutes.
Alrighty, let's go.
Let's go.
Very well, please follow me, and do be careful. The resulting ash from the fire has made the streets slightly slick.
Okay.
All right. So, begins heading you off. You do notice as you travel through the market rung, business still seems to be running. I mean, the further away from the fire that you move, obviously, the more people that you see. But overall, things seem pretty, business as usual sort of thing. It's a big enough area that people can kind of continue going about their day. And before not too long at all, you stop in front of a slightly larger storefront than the ones that you've seen before. And it has a sign on it that has kind of a woodcutter's axe and several carving tools on the sign. This should be the one that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Would you like me to remain here so that you may have use of me when you are finished?
I'll look around really quick just to see if there's any other greeters around over here.
There's one, like, pretty far down.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could just stay out here. Thank
All
you.
right. I will be able to wait for about 20 minutes.
That should be fine.
Go up and just open the door, I suppose.
Sure. All right. So you step inside of what looks to be a large carpenter's workshop. There's chairs, tables, ornaments of varying kinds. Like it's just kind of what you would expect from a woodworking type area. As you kind of enter all the way in, you hear from kind of the very back, "I'll be with you in a minute."
Thank you. Is Kenna hold the sign like? So I think general plan is here is just figure out if there's any more information on how that symbol got down there. Maybe not necessarily mentioning the symbol, but ask if anybody's done work on there, that type of thing.
Are we trying to get more information about Griff?
Yeah, more information about why that's in his place and where he might be.
Okay.
Demon worshiper.
Whoa, Lazarus, jumping to conclusions.
No, I was just gonna search that bitch's house and go find evidence.
Gonna search that bitch's house.
You drew it. I know you did.
I know you drew it. You're like shaking the guy's chair. I knew you did it. Like, Lazarus, he's not here, man.
While we're waiting, can I look around the store?
Sure, what are you looking for?
I just want to look at all the things that are in there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a selection, actually. Pretty much anything from, like, full-blown large carvings of things like huge cabinets and bookcases and that sort of thing, all the way down to, like, little children's toys, like little, like, trains, that kind of stuff. Like, just a full gambit. After what feels like quite a while, but is probably only about 10 minutes or so, you kind of hear somebody shuffling around in the distance, and the shop owner kind of rounds the corner. "Sorry for the wait." And as he kind of comes around the corner, he's very much the... what TV show was that where they made fun of the guy on the paper towel? He's got like the huge lumberjack physique and the plaid shirt and the hat and that's literally this guy.
So he's attractive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're into arms as big as your head.
I'm sure Kenna is.
But yeah, he's definitely got that, like, this was like a man who's definitely like the lumberjack personified.
Hello, we just had a couple questions for you.
Certainly.
Hopefully you can help.
He kind of holds out one big hand. He goes, "Name's Brawny. Nice to meet you."
Dis.
He gives you a big shake.
I use all my strength to try to keep him.
All right, do an athletics check.
you may need to heal my hand and my wrist.
God, I can't. I literally can't.
All right, 18. That's might be okay.
You try to keep up, and like you expect it to be this like really hard grasp, but his hands are surprisingly tender. He seems to have a great deal of control over his strength.
He's like interested.
He like gives you a look, and he kind of does a slight bow. "Ma'am."
Sir?
"Tell me then, what has brought you to Brawny's shop?"
We were wondering about someone may have been a client of Gruff Woodwalker.
"I may have been a client of his, though I would have to ask first why exactly you are inquiring about this information."
We're a group of adventurers who is trying to help with the fire at the sawmill.
"Ah, I had heard about the fire. Is he all right? We haven't heard from him in days."
Well, that's kind of the problem. Nobody has.
That is troubling. He's long overdue for our daily poker game.
Do you have any idea? Has he ever disappeared like this before?
Only when he owes me money.
Does he owe you money right now?
Not currently.
Do you owe him money right now?
Only about 5 gold.
That's not too bad.
No, certainly nothing worth running away for.
When was the last time you saw him?
He kind of gives like the brow furrow. That's a good question. Maybe, let's see, 5 days? Yes, it would have been 5. He came by for his wood delivery, we had a few laughs, a couple of drinks, and he went on his way.
Was there anything over the last couple times you saw him that made you think that something might be wrong with him? Something unusual?
I mean, it'd be difficult to say. Half-orcs aren't the most chatty of people.
Minor detail.
What kind of card player is he? Like, is he a good card player, a bad card player?
He has his moments.
Is his moments?
Depends on how much ale's in him.
Is he one of those angry drunks?
No, certainly not.
Do you know if he's a religious man?
Not to my knowledge. I would assume the orcs have their own personages they follow. I really wouldn't know. I worship only the wood.
Good thing to worship.
Everybody snickers. Grow up, table. Nah, I'm just kidding.
So he wasn't... Do you know many other half-orcs around this area of the market room?
Not too many. There are a few here and there, but not in this area. Quite a bit further away. They tend to work the heavy jobs. You know, the mills, the sawmills, that sort of thing.
Do you know if Gruff had any family around?
Not that I know of. Most people that come here of his age tend to be lone survivors.
How old is he?
I'm not sure exactly with half-orcs, but old enough to have gray beginning on his chin.
Do you know if there were any people around that didn't like him, that may have thought of him as an enemy?
Well, not everybody likes orcs, but not enough to make a big stir of it. There are more things to worry about these days than orcs.
So there isn't much racism towards the other races. And...
Not in an open sort of fashion, no.
We're just sitting there, like, looking
They're like, just everybody just sitting there.
How long ago was his mill built? Do you know?
It was one of the first buildings on the market rung. Used to be out by a forest that grew in the area, but it was cleared away to make room for all the shops. I remember not all too long ago a man could walk 20 minutes out to the rim, chop down a few trees, make a good, honest living.
And
Sounds like the life. I love trees.
Do you?
Oh, I do.
Well, then perhaps I have just the thing for the lady. Please, excuse me for a moment. And he kind of begins to retreat back into the shop.
Some wood to show her.
And dude, and Mike's been staring at me the whole time waiting for that joke. I feel like it's been...
This is probably the most attractive person she's ever seen other than herself.
And the farmer. Don't forget about the farmer.
Farmer was only like a 17.
And yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Farmer
that's
was
right.
okay, but he
Bronny,
wasn't,
like, he's
a
if he's
20.
not a 20, he's a high 19.
How old does he look?
Hard to say for sure. He's got the big bushy beard, kind of makes him hard to guess.
He likes wood. She loves wood.
Oh, shit.
Alright, well on that note, we'll take our first break while he procures some wood for Kenna. And we'll come back after that. Wow, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Double Doubles and Dragons next time.